What is up, guys? Welcome back to the SuperCoach Experience podcast. I'm your host, Brandon Savage, the coach of the Savage Burbos. I'm joined here by the 2021 champion, Timmy Moody. How are you, Timmy?
Pretty good, man. I'm just going to grab that pen. It's just annoying me, just sort of sitting there really weirdly shaking around. I'm just going to bring it over here and make it part of my things.
Irrelevant, but how was your weekend?
Yeah, it was a bit gloomy. Like, the weather was a bit annoying. Obviously, it was nice that we was surprised with a bit of sun on the Sunday. I think
It was Saturday.
Yeah,
it was expected to rain all day and then just didn't rain.
Yeah, a little bit of that was nice. But yeah, it was awkward for SuperCoach. Having Dom Young go down, Taff go down, taking his head off, that was painful. Taking that, I don't think I've ever had a minus. I've had like maybe a -1 or 2 or something before. But
I mean, the Dom Young wasn't even your first minus of the weekend, was it?
Yeah, Liam Henry, yeah. But you know what, to be fair, there's a lot of people out there that have copped it a lot worse than what I have. There's people with scores in the 600s and 700s that are, good super coaches. So, some people copped it really tough, like if you had Teddy as well, and some people went Sam Walker as their halfback. So
there was a group I was in where a guy was ranked 7,000th and I think he scored like 700. So that's just how bad it can be for some people. And the Roosters have been hot, so it was a pretty relevant team for it to happen to. But Dominic Young, minus 14 points. When he was mass bought, he scored 30 the week after, so minus 14, actually minus 15. That's 15 points over 2 weeks. That's an average of 7.5.
Yeah.
That I wouldn't say that's season defining, but it is a move that I would say a lot of people regret, especially if they weren't considering it.
Yeah, I mean, he was probably not completely on my radar in the short term. He was probably sort of someone I sort of plugged in my mind be a good option for over the buyers. When he put out that 150 and was going to go so much high in price, I thought he might have a lot more big scores in between that period, and I kind of want to take advantage of that. But yeah, it went completely the opposite way. So these things happen. My luck will turn around, and other people that have had poor luck, that'll turn around as well.
100%. I think Dominic Young, the thought behind it was there. So when he was brought in by the Masters a couple of weeks ago, he was on my radar, but I thought he was definitely a good option coming into the next few weeks. I would have been happy to pay $700K for him if he was
still doing it.
And, if he scored 60 on the weekend, and he wouldn't have been massively bought, but I would have seen that big score coming again very shortly.
Yeah, to be honest, if he didn't take Taff's head off, I think we'd still be talking about him the same way. I don't think he was going to score more than 20 staying on the field for 80 minutes. The conditions were terrible for him as a winger, in saying that I vice-captained the bloke. I was either him or Ponga. They were only my two early upside guys. I've actually got to take it off him, but then I was like, I don't really care. I'm not going to be taking it off Val, who's in that Titans matchup. So either way, it didn't change what I would have done.
Did you toy with the idea of looping?
Yeah, if I was in a better mood that night, I would have put up a post to, SC Playbook or something, just wondering if you can post a link to the VC loophole, just trying to, not really a maths guy, just trying to work out whether it'll work out for me or not. But yeah, I wasn't in the mood for any socials. I was just sort of watching the carnage.
So we have to do the Daily Telegraph wrap-ups I do Fridays, you do Saturdays. If that was a Friday night, I just would have been like, if I was you, I just would have been like, nah, not doing it, Tommy. I had to do the Friday night.
That's what makes it fun, though. You know what I mean? Like, it's having real bad ones. It's not fun to do, but it's part of the highs and lows of SuperCoach. I
had it the night that I sold Teddy to Turbo, and that was a real gut-wrenching one.
Tough carry.
I woke up with a massive SuperCoach hangover and a real hangover, but more so SuperCoach.
I don't know if anyone else can see this, but there's a tag on your shirt that's like hanging on by a thread, and it's Tommy Hilfiger shirt, and it's like stitched on, but it's like half off. Yeah. I was hoping you'd rip it off, but you've got it back there. I'll just do little things like that. My ADD's kicking in at the moment. So
do you want to know how I went?
No, I'm not. Don't know. Not really. Yeah, but go on. Yeah, of course. Let's hear about it, brother.
I did all right. Like, I could have done a lot better. 1368. Oh, actually, I've got to say, before we move on to my score, you did really well besides them two shit scores. So I feel like you had Lomax 112, you had
I had
Val
some saviors.
Holmes.
Yeah, I had some saviors. It could have been worse.
Kalen Ponga. Kalen Ponga and Lomax have saved you a few weeks in a row, which has been pretty good for you. But yeah, I did pretty well. I had obviously got in Scott Drinkwater for Tom Trebojevic last week, and when Tommy Turbo went over for that try, actually, I'll talk you through my weekend first. So Sean Johnson went massive. He went off the field like 5 minutes early, and he was on 105. I was hoping for more than that. And I was saying to you boys, I was like, is it worth looping and reversing my trade to go to Tommy just so I've got that captain score locked in and I've got Tommy for the next couple of weeks? We're heavily considering it, but then SJ went off. So I was like, no, I'll just stick with it anyway. Tommy goes over for that try. I'm in the dumps. Not in the dumps. I'm like, the move I made sense. The stats were there.
You thought the fullback roulette had another bullet in it, and you were going to shoot Ed in the head for a second
It's
time.
actually quite funny. The other week when I sold Teddy to Turbo, Teddy went and got 135, but then he went off the field the other night with 5 points. And it's funny, Grant in our chat the other day said, it's funny how I could play this fullback roulette and that trade I've still come out on top. So it's funny. It does come back to reward you if you go for it sometimes, but I think you just got to be patient with some people and just play the stats. But I played the stats with Scott Drinkwater and put the captaincy on him. I was really worried. I was tossing up all weekend, do I go Holmes or Scott Drinkwater? And I think with AJ Brimson defending on the right side, I was a bit worried that they wouldn't target that side. And I thought attack would come from all around the park. So I stuck with Scott Drinkwater, 144 points. Thanks for coming. Cherry on top, played Ethan Strange, which was a nice little addition. And I think a lot of people played him this week.
Yeah, I think people were either forced to play him at 5'8" or had him, tucked away in centre wing, and a lot of carnage during the last couple of weeks. So, and he's not looking too shabby. Like his runs look great.
Oh yeah,
even prior to this last.
Yeah, no,
week.
It's why I was pretty confident to play him this week. And then, Reece Robson turned up in that Cowboys game. Very happy with that.
He's turned out very good for you.
Yeah, I think that 117 is just made the starting with him. Already starting with him was good enough, but it just made that extra worthy. So, I've went up from 850th to 27th. And yes, I've done the maths. If I didn't do that Teddy trade early on and I did every other trade after that, I'd be in 5th. So I'm very close, but
then you also said that. But then that you'd have to. Are you accounting for the fact that you wouldn't have had that 5 from him yesterday or last weekend?
That's if I did this the 2 turbo the week after.
Yeah.
But that being said, I've burnt through a lot of trades. So this is the time where the trades have worked. Time to sit on my hands and try and sit back. My squad's good. Yeah, I'm making trades this week. We'll talk about it. But
you're kind of sort of forced to as well with
yeah,
Latrell going down.
And
I think you're going to trade Latrell out pretty soon anyway.
Yeah. But in the next couple of weeks, emphasising on saving trades. And because that's the only thing that's stopping me now. Like, obviously, I'm in the position I want to be in. And if I just go with the crowd and don't go against anyone that's could burn me.
I was putting a bit of thought into it, and I thought, well, the fact that you have gone so hard and you've landed where you are, it's where you want to be. Like if you were sitting, 7,000, or even when I'm at 30,000, it'd be like, well, now what? I've used all my ammo, and now I've just got to sort of use the rest to plug bits and pieces here and there, and then obviously get through the origin period as well. But I think it could work out all right. Like as long as it seems like it's hard to save trades because you've gone so hard, and it seems impossible for you to do. But if you can just find a couple of weeks, might not be this week, but next week, week after, whatever it might be, sometime before Origin, I reckon you need to get at least 2 out of the way, and then find some. It's going to be hard to identify when, because the thing I was thinking, the temptation for you now that you are in 27th, it's either the mentality can be like, oh, I'm happy around here. I'll just stay around here and let it take its course over week after week. Or you might be like, I see an opportunity to attack again and I'm boosting. You know what I mean? Or I'm trading this guy out, which is sideways, which I don't need to, you know what I mean? Which will get you an extra 50. Is that the way to go? You know, so...
Yeah.
Yeah, I think... I think you can because you're only like I've not been cautious really either. I've only just tried to not max boost trade. I've used 2 every week, and 1 week I boosted. So I've saved 3 trades compared to where you are, but I've actually not saved any trades. I don't consider saving trades unless you use only 0 or 1 that week. That's a save to me. But
the thing is with boost though, if you're going to use the boost eventually, you're using it in 1 week. So I don't see boosts as like that important. Like
I don't know. I'm actually trying to think. I hope I don't want to use them. I'd be happy to die with 3 at the end of the season.
By the end of the season, if you've got 4 trades left and you've got 5 weeks left, you're not using a boost.
No.
Like there's no chance you're using a boost.
So yeah, I think the idea of going hard early at that period or spreading them out to be like, oh no, I've got carnage this week. I've got 5 guns out, you know, just like a week like this where, you know, Paul Liam Howie, #1 fan of the show, he's in carnage. You've got players all over the shop, and it's just about which is the best 3 to sort of deal with at this time sort of thing. Yeah, so I don't know where I sort of lost my train of thought going on to the Howie train. I started thinking about his side, not yours. But so it's just going to be about, I think it's going to be cool now. Like you're so in and around it that there's probably enough teams that are in and around it that are teams are pretty whacked still a little bit where they don't have the depth.
There's a lot of nuffs in some of the top teams as well. There's also like on most people, like
I'd be more scared about the people below you, not the people above you.
100%, 100%. Because the guys above me, they're in the same conundrum I am. Like they've got to play it smart from here. I know this time last year I did something similar. I got to 150th, 90th. And then I fell off late because obviously I wasted trades and fell out of trades and stuff. But I also spent a lot of trades through the buy period last year trying to get the best possible 13. And sometimes I'd already have 13. I was just trying to get better
you could
players.
Say there. You were going for like... I think all you boys in our chat were kind of like
gone for 15 just to make sure.
I got 12 or 13.
Yeah, exactly.
And didn't work out for me though either.
How many points on them weeks realistically you making up? Like you're making 40 to 100 points here and there. I've already made so much ground on a lot of people that during that period I can play it slow and then go hard again at the end of the season if I do well enough.
I reckon the best mentality to be is... Let's just sit pretty around here. You've got to make the trade you need to make. Just like when it's you feel you need to get Cleary back. When you've got to get Latrell out, stuff like that. If you could probably even be like, I might ride Robson until I feel like I just have to get Harry because he's done it once or twice in a row. Like, I know the right move probably seems Harry's cooking and brewing, and he's probably due. So you'd probably want to bring him in. It's pretty hard to do this week with other things but then it's getting that close to Origin. It's like, do you just hold that? Because it's another trade. You get Harry in, then you're getting probably Harry out to cover as well. So I think if you can just find different ways to save, like that guy I'm just going to turn, he's now a keeper or that's the way you got to go. Otherwise if you go too hard, it'll just be you'll be sitting there, trying to put a house fire out with a water pistol going, trying to fend it off. It won't work.
Pretty hard as well because at this point of the year, you get to 27th, it's nice, but you want to stay up there as well. If you get to first, it's nice.
But I reckon your side is good, that I've been looking at it, that it's pretty well set up. Like you've got 2 nice second rowers there. You've got decent, centre wings. You could probably have one stronger maybe there.
I'd like one more, yeah.
But to be fair, on the common man, even on a bad week, you're still putting points on everyone, you know what I mean? So I just trust your side that and also just keep picking the right captains.
That's
it.
That's
such a big thing. It's such a big thing.
And that's the massive thing that put me up massively last week. Obviously, there was a lot of good options last week, but enough about my side. If you are up at the pointy end, it is a relevant chat. I think we needed
to rant because you're bloody killing it.
It is a relevant chat. And I think in the past when I have kind of done well and people are in similar boats, we haven't talked about it enough. So I think it's good for us. Well, we like to talk about players who we're eyeing off and all that sort of stuff. And the strategy chat is always something that you need to touch base with very regularly. So let's go into the traded in players. James Schiller is the number one traded in player this week. 24,000 people have traded him in. He's named on the wing. Albert Hopewade is not named, but very interesting there because Chevy Stewart's named fullback. Seb Chris is still there, which means when Rapana comes back, if he comes back, I'm not sure how long he's out for, but there's three people that need to fit into two positions.
My gut vibe on Chevy is it's probably just a
stopgap for Rapana.
Have a go and then drop back. That was a good experience for him to get a bit of first grade. I thought they were just going to give him a go to start the year. Now that they haven't, I've changed my mind on the way I think they'll use him.
Yep.
If he come out and had just an absolute blinder, maybe there's a world where they go, all right, do you want to play in the centres or do you want to play on the wing to Rapana or something before we find somewhere else for him? But I think they'll probably just get rid of him. But there seems to be a lot of other cheapies just sort of popping their head up that might be available in a week or two as well. But
the thing is with James Schiller, if he gets 70 points, that's 150K. That's worth one week.
I'm pretty into it. The two tons there. And
Titans?
I actually really like the look of... Yeah, true, that's a fair point. I'm only thinking about Titans for the fact of... who was it? Oh, for Danny Levi. I was like, he's probably going to get 2 tries this weekend.
Oh, my God.
For that factor, there's a very big chance that he could just find his way out of the side. But geez, he's looked good. I don't know. There's something just about his body size that I just think looks right there. He looks so first grade. You know what I mean? Some of the other...
Yeah. The thing I said to Grant the other week in our chat, I think Schiller has looked better than Hopewade has ever in a Raiders jersey. In contact, Schiller has no regard for his body. He's just running as hard as he can, whereas Hopewade kind of braces for the contact when he goes in. And I think that's what they need. Hopewade doesn't score many tries, but for some reason, Schiller's scored heaps of tries on that wing. I think he's exactly what the Raiders need. Just a bit of X factor in the outside backs. I love the look of him, to be honest.
Yeah, I really like him too. The thing that I don't love, though, is the fact that, Blaze Talangi's not in the side. We'll get to him. He's dropped out. We pick him up last week. We pick up Schiller this week. Next week, neither are in the side. You know what I mean? Which one do I hold on to? Who was going to get, come back?
Both negative break-evens.
And they're taking up really important spots in the centres. For me, it's starting to become hard to go, there's a centre wing cheapie. For me, to get him, I have to sell Taylor May, which I'm not fussed about. I've come to terms with it. His BE is very worthy of holding now. It's not... Yeah, so, but for me, if I need to make some money in that spot, I just... I sometimes you just got to let go of something, even though you think it's, you haven't got the best out of it. I know there's a lot more to come from Taylor May, but if you want to take advantage of that money jump, and a lot of people might be looking to free up that money for Cleary next week as well. The problem is I'm thinking I'm going to get a little bit, you know what I'm like with money and spending. I'm probably going to spend up and probably not. I'll struggle to find a way to get Cleary next week, but I'll make sure I can do it. But it might mean I'm on the same page as you. I might be boost back to back this week.
I'm not racing in to get Cleary, but we'll talk about that, I guess. But
yeah, I don't.
James Schiller, 26 points in hit-ups, 18 points the week before. On the weekend, 14 points in tackle bus. So that's already 40 points right there. 1 point in tackle. So it's about 40 points in base and base attack right there. A lot of attacking stats, 4 line breaks, a try assist, a try contribution, and a forced dropout. Dare I say that's probably going to be the game of his life.
If he gets another ton, forgive my maths, but he'll be close to 200k price, right? It'll be about 180 at least.
150k based on 70. So if he gets...
that's based on a projected score of 51, it says.
Is it actually?
Yeah.
51, so 140k, yeah. So if he gets a ton, 200k right there.
Pretty close.
51, he's more likely to get 40, and that's
I don't know, like, if he's... Like, it's a Titans game, like, your winger's probably going to get a try each.
So he's a good buy then?
He's a good buy. Like, look, I don't want to say... I think he's a buy. He's a buy. I don't know that he's a good buy. The money's definitely worth it. You say that a trade can be worth 100k. You're probably going to... If he scores 50, it says he's making 140k, so it's worth it for that. But... just the pain in the ass of if he doesn't get that spot back. But the only reason he doesn't get that spot back, I'd imagine, is... or the reason he doesn't play the next week is if they lose to the Titans, which is probably very unlikely. But I guess the Titans have got to pull their finger out of their ass eventually. And maybe this is a game where they've got that enough sort of attack. They put 22 points on the Cowboys. The Cowboys are not a chance of winning the grand final, by the way, too. I don't think. If you're letting in 22 points to the Titans and the amount of attack, their attack's fantastic, but I don't think they can turn that around in 6 months or whatever it is. Yeah. But back to the point, I think it's a buy. It's more of a good buy than not a good buy.
I think with James Schiller, this is a case of actually watching the games. And if it was someone that I saw just fall over the line and their inside men set them up, I'd be much less inclined to do. Like, I'd be pretty inclined anyway, because that's a massive break even. Like, that's guaranteed money in the hand. But the fact that I've seen him, I'm backing him in to keep his spot.
Do you know why Hopewadi was not in the side to begin with?
He burnt his hand at cooking.
So he played a couple of games prior to that burnt game. Schiller's come in, played 2 since his burnt arm.
And like last year, Hopewadi missed a game because he had a wedding on, which isn't, you don't go to weddings during NRL season.
Yeah, that's weird. Unless it's like you're like immediate family. Maybe you ask them to reschedule
your
it.
immediate family doesn't plan that around the NRL game.
That out,
and like now a cooking accident, which is like seems slightly careless. I don't know the situation of it.
Come on, careless.
But like
he's just trying to prepare some food for his family, bro. I'm sure he's not on the pingers, just like having a laugh, work out with the boys.
No, but like
trying to cook some barbies.
This is like another thing that's kept him out of the side. I just think Ricky's standards are a lot higher than than cooking food
That's
for your
funny,
family. No, but
get Uber Eats Hopper.
I just think he'll like someone more reliable. But enough on James Schiller.
Well, he's going to make that much money that he's going to probably go to. He's 238 now, so he'll go to a likely 400k. So even if he doesn't make the side the next week, you can kind of sell that. You can hold him for a couple of weeks, get a bit of an idea of whether he's going to make his way back, and if he's not, you move on that. That's fine. I think I'll be doing it. The only reason I didn't want to do it, I was hoping he wasn't named for whatever, because I didn't want to boost. But I'm going to have to boost to get him, because I still want to make the other trades I was originally going to make.
Kalen Ponga is second, 889k. Do you think he's the best fullback?
I think
for the next few weeks, at least?
I think he's if I just was to sort of, I reckon he'll probably average the most at the end, I think. Yeah, and be the next over the best couple of weeks. He looks the most in form. Drinkwater had a mad game, but against the Titans, Drinkwater has, he made a few mistakes the week before. You say the same for Turbo the week before. They're sort of one-off games for those sorts of guys, though. I think he's the most. There's a little bit of the unknown of Walsh. I have to have a look close. I think his jaw's starting to get good. He might have a little one or two awkward ones.
Yeah. Roosters, Bulldogs, Dolphins, New Zealand, Tigers, Gold Coast, Bulldogs until round 13 for Ponga.
There's a couple of top ones there.
For Ponga.
Okay.
For Ponga. We're talking about Ponga, not Walsh.
Sure.
Pretty good draw over the next couple of weeks. A bit awkward. He's playing the Roosters this week, but it is at home, and the Roosters are severely under strength. Yeah. So I like him as a buy this week. Number 3, Joey Manu, named at fullback this week. Man, this hurts because he's not in my plans this week, and I think he's a
good buy.
He always this time of year, if you get him in, he's an option.
He's one of the guys I'm considering. Just a side trade from him to Dom Young to him. Still get a bit of that right edge of the Roosters. Don't have to stress about whether the ball's going to get out to the winger and just be on the Manu train. I guess if you're going to get a fullback game, he's a good buy too. Like a lot of the time you buy him, people really want to target these games. He's at 5'8" or fullback, get the most out of him. And he still does well when he's at centres, and especially when the Roosters are playing well. So I think, last week you can sort of forgive them a bit for the, it was a crazy game. It was, they did come back in the second half and were pretty exciting. But, I think he's a great buy. But there's a lot of good buys at the moment.
There's so many good buys. Angus Crichton, number 4, at 414,000, scored 80 points last week, starting on the edge. I feel like I've said I don't want a bar of the Roosters' edge back rowers, just on how their rotation has gone early in the season. But
Price has changed your mind.
It's kind of hard to ignore. He got a try assist and a line break assist. But 35 points in tackles, 26 points.
I'm really not confident that they're going to settle on one. I reckon it's a rotation policy.
I think so too.
Based on who buys Robbo a coffee or, says goodbye to him the most, or whatever, and all these little things around the place. And it's probably nothing to do with that. But I do think that the other guys Wong will probably find his way back. Satili's on the other side at the moment, but there's Butcher. There's so many moving pieces there. But at the price, it's hard to ignore. And some of these times, you just got to snap up on these prices because, for me, it's Viliami Kikau's at a price now where kind of annoying. I still could buy him. He's like 500 and something. But if I had started with him,
you'd be very happy.
At 400k, that's mad. And you're happy to hold and still keep...
Funny how he ended up being the best mid-ranger out of all of them.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
And, I think the others had so much more promise because he needed to rely on Burton sort of kicking on. Last week was his real standout, but he's looked okay prior to that as well.
Yeah, I think so too. Sean Johnson, number 5, obviously looks like Cleary replacements. You've still got Cleary. I wouldn't be selling to Sean Johnson this week. The Warriors have Manly, and the Manly have been pretty good. Sean Johnson, what a game last week. Played the Rabbitohs. I'm very happy I own him. I think he looks good. He looks free in a Warriors side who are scoring lots of points, and he's goal kicking again. So that's always a good thing.
So it started getting me thinking, I wonder if this year it could be, I don't think it's going to be, but Cleary 1, SJ 2, and then maybe Nico 3. Like, what if it is a bit of a changing of the guard for Supercoach? Last year it's been all Nico, number 1 Supercoacher. Maybe they could be the best 2, but I just think Hines, it just seems to just on a whole year seems to put out more scores like in the 90s, 100s, whereas you'll get those way too many 60s from which you'll take from SJ. So I don't know. I still think that it's probably Nico and Nathan, but I think there's a world where you might be in the best spot for a short-term period, even going Nathan and SJ.
Well, SJ over the next few weeks, he's gotten over that injury, whatever he had. He's got Manly, then he's got St. George, Gold Coast, Newcastle, Roosters, Penrith, Dolphins. So just over the next 4 weeks...
Decent enough. They're all games you can see him going well. There's no major shutdowns. Yeah. And then there's a few really nice ones like the Titans.
Yeah. I really like it, and I really like that I own him. He just makes me not stress about Cleary too much.
When do you think is that you'll make that shift? Is there a certain matchup? Is it just when you think that you see a performance where he smacks one out?
I'm just honestly just going to... I'm not planning. I'm just being free-flowing with it.
He's returning from an injury too. And maybe that could be a niggly hamstring thing where he thinks he's right and then boom, it's gone.
But
So,
not even that. He might, in the back of his mind, he just might be
Hold back a little.
little bit careful. But that being said, like Cleary, I rushed to get him in round 2 because I just saw how good and confident he was looking. If he comes back like that, maybe I reassess. But for now, I'm pretty happy to sit on my hands and save the trade. Elias Katoa, I traded him in last week. 110 points, very happy. 2 tries. I would have liked him to kick on just a little bit more. But 2 tries for 110.
what was he on at half-time? About
It was on 87 at half-time, so scored 23 points in the...
I think that's a good kick-on from, like, second half scoring. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like
that's true. Usually open footy and the base stats kind of drop off.
Because sometimes you look at your halftime score from your player, he's on 70, and you go, all right, I want 140 from you then. You better match that. You know what I mean? But the realistic part of it is...
I guess the difference is, like, with backs, it's like that. Like, if they're on 70 at halftime, they might go on to get 140 if the other team doesn't show up. But if they're on 40, they can still get 100, whereas the forwards, they're not likely to boost up their score in the second half too much unless they get attacking stats. So, yeah, funny how that works. But Elias Katoa, on your radar, I think with a lot of good buys this week, I couldn't see myself prioritising this week if I didn't buy last week.
Yeah, well, he's been on my radar since, last year, and was really big on him in the preseason.
We reposted the video.
Yeah, I was confused. I was messaged you today. I was like, why are we getting so many likes on this Eli Katoa post that you put up months ago? But, yeah, I don't understand how the internet works, and you explained it. So, yeah, then I was, because I am now, this is the time that I'm now naturally looking to bring him in. I looked at last year's scores because you'll remember that little video I did, the clip. I went through all his big scores. He had 92, 96. He had all these good scores. Then I started to look at the smaller scores, and it's not a reason not to buy him, but I'm just thinking maybe temper my expectations a little bit because I am one of those guys, you say I can add a bit to players' average. And I think the reason I do add a bit more to what players should score is my success was in 2021 when points were out the window, so everyone's ceiling was
massive.
Yeah,
and
there was no cap.
They're the guys you were targeting.
Yeah.
And also, when you think about it, like when you're looking to get these players in over a whole season, they average a certain amount. But when you look to trade these players in, you're looking at a 5-week sample size. You want these guys to average that over that 5-week sample size because a lot of these players we're getting in now, we're most likely not going to have them all for the rest of the season. So, like, if you're looking over the next 5 weeks, your expectation of them has to be a lot higher than what their season average can be.
Yeah, so some of these players, they could be. Like, that's why I didn't mind Dom Young to start with. I was like, he could be a season-long keeper. And you only have 2 weeks. I think you could hold him. You just have to know that he's going to lose a lot of cash, but he's also going to score a lot of tries. And you just have to go through that and know you can't sell him once he starts losing the cash. But with Eli Katoa, back to him. Some of the scores that kind of put me off a little bit, which they're not like, you take them. They're like 50, like round 1, 54, round 5, 45, round 7, 38. There was a 20, but that was in a 38-minute game, so we won't count that. Round 10, 42. Another injury-affected game. Yeah, there were a couple injury-affected games. There was a few, like I was like, 40, 50, but that's what they do if they're not really having a line break.
Type of back rower he is, though.
But there is that upside there. I really like the look of the Storm, particularly Jerome Hughes, so the way they're linking up together. So very, very keen on him. There are a few other players I'm pretty keen on, so I just need to make sure I'm not just having tunnel vision for Eli Katoa because I've had eyes for him pre-season, and make sure that there's not other better buyers for me.
And also, I've said it all year, he's just got his big score. So look for the guy who's going to get the big score next week or the week after. Scott Drinkwater and Tommy Turbo are in the top 10 as well. It's so hard to navigate these fullbacks.
Well, that's fair because everyone's getting on the roulette. It's Latrell, Sale most likely.
Latrell and Teddy.
And Teddy, of course, yeah.
But Scotty Drinkwater, 891K. He has a break even of 47, so could make a little bit more money next week, potentially, playing the Parramatta Eels. And then there's Tom Trbojevic, scored 111 on the weekend, break even at 72, plays the Warriors, and then his draw opens up massively. He's got the Titans, Parramatta, Canberra, Dolphins, and then Broncos, Melbourne, Penrith. What are your thoughts on two of these blokes?
Well, I was only just listening to Levels on the way here, and I was listening to Scope's opinion on Tommy Turbo, and he thought he's still not looking at his best, sort of thinks he's looking at about 80% and just sort of not 100% engaging in that, that contact sort of part of it. His opinion is that he might sort of take until after Origin to really start hitting his strides when he's after, big Origin contact. And it started to get me thinking, he's still not yet at his best, but he's going decent enough. I don't know that it's going to take until after Origin. I think, this Titans game that he's got, not this week but the week after, could be the one that he just opens a can of whoop ass and then decides to keep going with it. But I don't know.
He's averaging 77.4 this year.
It's a little underwhelming for him, but I don't know.
It is, but I honestly think he's looked better than he has in previous years. Like, I just think he's not, the game plan isn't around him just taking every play anymore.
When you're comparing these two players, like Tommy scored about 110, was it, or 100?
111.
111 last week, and Drinky about 140 something. Drinky did that against the worst team in the competition, and Turbo scored 40 less, one attacking play less against the best in the competition. So if I'm comparing those two, I'm probably going Turbo every day just for that factor. If you're basing it just on eyes test of last week's footy, and you didn't really know much about the Titans and how they're struggling, you'd go like Drinky looked ridiculous, man. Just the way he was like in everything. He was playing both sides of the field, playing like a halfback of 5'8". I'm really excited to keep watching him. I'm nervous not having him, but you can't have all the fullbacks, and pretty much nearly 6 fullbacks that I don't have make me nervous week to week. So I just try and enjoy him as much as you can and hope they don't score 50 more than your guy. But I'd go Tommy just for that factor. He's got the Titans in 2 weeks. Not this week, but the week after, and that's pretty close enough to. If he was doing it this week, you'd be rushing him in.
Oh, for sure, sure.
So
I don't think he's a rush in this week against the Warriors at home. I think,
but if you've got one of those fullbacks and you need to move on, you probably need to move on.
Yeah, and if you want to use one trade, then Tommy's your guy. I reckon.
The only reason you wouldn't need to move on is, say you're a Teddy owner, you could sell Teddy, move one of your dual centre wingers down
just for a 1 week stop gap
to make your decision. Yeah, if you need to make that decision, and you could also bring in another gun centre for this week, and then move the pieces around next week to bring in that second gun fullback. But yeah, I think Tommy. The Cowboys are great. They attack sort of all. So does Manly. Yeah. But Tommy is, I was going to say, he's their one and true feature.
I feel like their gameplay isn't based around him this year, and I think that's a good thing. I think that massive score is coming, though. Like the massive, massive one. He's only getting started. And before round 13, we saw it last year, he was hindered the whole year, still average 80, and then come out against the Raiders.
It's cheap too. He's like only sub 800K.
So Marju looks like he's back this week. He is on the extended, so that's one to watch out for. For SuperCoach, he is a watch. Dylan Lucas gets his starting spot at 500K. What are your thoughts on Dylan Lucas?
A bit off my radar, but I see the appeal. You can get him at centre wing or second row.
This week's the week to get him, though. Like, I don't think you can wait for him.
He's just off my radar just because I'm looking at sort of, Olakawatu's or Eli Katoa's or even potentially a David Fafita, but not him as much Fafita.
Yeah, I like it.
I think I'd rather one of those primo guys rather than Dylan Lucas. But yeah, but it's also partly because I've got Kai Pearce-Paul there, which a lot of people still will. I don't know about having 2 edges on
Yep.
I'd prefer to have just one, I think.
Where was I? I lost my train of thought.
What about you? Are you looking at Lucas?
Here and there, but not really.
Because I know you were pretty keen on him pre-season.
I'm not super. I was keen on him in the center wing to be like that next guy. But like not the first center wing. I wanted him to be like the second or third.
You'd probably be better on the left side too. I think.
I don't hate him on the right. I think he's done all right. Like Frizzell scored a few tries early on this year on that right side, so I don't mind it. Sam Hughes gets a bench spot once again. He is scored a try. So
yeah, kind of annoying not having played him and playing the other H fella.
You can't pick these things. Willison gets a start. 265K, very small break even. Can you spend trades in your front row at this point of the year when the big scores are starting to come?
Well, there's going to be some people with front row issues this week.
There is. There isn't. In the team of the week that is put up every week, I've been trying to do it every week on the SuperCoach Experience Instagram. The front row forwards, the high scores, there's always an 80 and a 70, and they're the two highest scores. They're always random people. Like it was Stefano this week, who, mind you, has been pretty good.
Yeah, he has looked good.
But the scores of these front rows are not hurting you. And I think if you can plug someone like what Henry was doing before the -1.
While we're talking on front rows, what was the go with Terrell May? Like what?
I heard he missed the bus.
Missed punishment?
Yeah.
Well, this team out there needed his help, man. Like, he's not punishing him, he's punishing the side.
Trent Robertson, I have no idea. Like, what's he doing with these second rowers? Like
that's in that wet game, he would have been an ideal person.
Yeah.
I thought there must have been like an injury that they didn't want to talk about, or
apparently missed the bus.
Right.
Ben Trebojevic starts at centre. Play?
Not
against
this
the Warriors.
Week, no.
Nah.
I'm glad I held him. Like, I was tossing up between him and Smithies, but the only reason they both scored okay.
Smithies.
Yeah, I sold Smithies. He scored like 60-ish, but the reason I came down to it was just the Aman said something about it, and shout out to Aman, Talk Supercoach.
I like his new series, Aman Walks Supercoach.
Yeah, I like his sense of humour with it all. But yeah, he mentioned that, just the one factor of keeping between those for the duel, and I was like, oh yeah, and it's just given me so much more flexibility now, and as long as I can hold on to him, as long as he's not going to be losing too much cash, I just like that. It just creates so much. I want to buy a second rower, you know what I mean, but I want to sell a centre winger, you know what I mean. It just makes it so much easier. It makes you not have to sell a guy that you don't want to sell for someone when you really want to buy them, you know what I mean? Those buys you like, for instance, this week, Schiller, you might feel like you have to buy him, but you don't really want to sell May. Like, with using that, there would be flexibility to sell a different sector. Yeah.
Yep.
So I like that. It's nice.
I like it. Blaze Talangi dropped.
Do you know what?
Annoying.
That game, he looked really underwhelming, and the game prior, the one I don't know if it was his debut game that he ran over Tommy. I think it was his debut game. Bursted over the line, smashed him. I was like, wow. But he looked so timid and shy on the weekend. I don't know what was.
I think just going down to Canberra, playing Canberra, like they're a rough side. It looks to face. Like,
I'm wondering whether the Galvin thing the week before, that play with his close mate, you know what I mean? Growing up playing footy with
potentially
sort of got in his head, or I don't know.
Here's the biggest team news of the week that we need to talk about, and I'm a little bit keen.
Okay.
The Rabbitohs, Dry Gray, gets named at fullback, but that's not what I'm talking about. Kale Iro keeps his spot in the centre wing.
Oh, I didn't even notice that. That's cool.
Yeah, Talakai is benched.
Sick one.
So this means
he's benched, like he's coming off the bench?
Yeah, like he's playing number 16. This means that Kale Iro is playing the side who has leaked pretty much the worst amount of Supercoach points to an opposing side. I think getting in Kale Iro this week is the pod play and playing him. this is the type of play that's going to get you in front. Not like waiting for him next week. It's awkward getting in guys like Talangi who haven't quite worked out. But I think if you go early on Iro and play him this week,
I don't think it's that bad of an idea. Like
against the right side of Isaiah Tass, who, you know, he's been all right, but like it's not his preferred defensive side. He's usually defending on the left.
It potentially has the same risk as bringing in Schiller. The only difference is Schiller will
make money
if he takes the field. But they're probably just as up in the air as each other, maybe. But the fact that they've come off a bye after the round before the bye, him having a blinder, I think Fitzgibbon's just gone.
It's time.
And I'm gonna do this.
And I really find guys like Iro, they have a hot 2 weeks and then they start to get talked about. Like Iro hasn't been talked about for a couple of weeks now since that massive game.
Well, because the team was on the bye.
Well, that's of course. But if he has another massive game this week, teams are going to start to talk about him. And yeah, he still might do well, but I really feel like there's potential for...
Well, if he does well this week, everyone will be bringing him the week after anyway because he's a bottom dollar cheapie with a 94. And if he's done well this week, he's probably also got a 50 plus. So, yeah, you're just going a week early. All you're really doing is... the only reason you do it is if you were certain he was going to have a massive game this week, which is kind of where you're leaning, or the other reason be like, I need to free up cash for something, and for whatever reason you don't like Schiller or you know what I mean? That's the only reason you'd go if you needed to free up something for this week. But I'd probably say just wait to the common SuperCoach. Just wait. Like I'm not that confident he scores a 90,
I think he can. I really think he can.
I realise the bunnies are struggling, and you identify.
But this is the last week, so the media is saying that Demetrio has 1 week to save his job. I think they want him on the out, so they'll just have another another shit game. Like, all right, boys, we know what to do. Just. The team would have performed by now if they were all for Demetrio. We've seen all the talk about the camp, whether it's a good, whether the culture's good, and like there's been so much talk out of there that I'm pretty sure that they want him gone.
I really think though this is one of those ones for you that you need to really weigh up the risk versus reward because it's a trade that you probably will make next week.
Yeah.
But let's just say he doesn't have a great game and they just go back to it.
He gets dropped.
Yeah, or he gets injured. You know, there's injured players getting dropped like flies. That's now a 200K player that you've got stuck there, slowing your cash roll. You've got to make potentially a decision to trade him out, and you know it's an awkward trade because it's all only up or sideways to another cheapie that's probably not as good. Like, yeah, I reckon that I'd lean to no. I'm more cautious than what you are, but I just think that that's one that just doesn't have to be made this
I don't
week.
think I'm doing it. I'd have to boost to do it, and that would be a
like you're scoring that well in all other sides of the field. It's kind of like if you're sitting there going, oh, well, if I don't, otherwise I'm playing, let's say hypothetically like Drew Hutchison. You've like, all right, he's 20s, 30s. I feel like this guy's going to get a ton. Maybe you do it then, maybe. But come on, nah. Be patient.
Stay patient. And I guess that's it for team list. Chevy Stewart's named, which is a good thing. Very temporary, though. Let's go to our trades for the week. What are you looking at?
So it'll be Dom Young out. I've decided I'm doing that. Just like I'm definitely selling him. My first thought was like, no, I'll just hold. It could be a season-long hold. But just if an injury happens or something like that too, I don't be stuck with it. And I'm just going to... It's 2 extra weeks. I've been holding Piakura in my side as well. So I don't be holding too many players or waiting a couple of weeks to get clear. I don't be doing too much waiting. And he disappointed me. So he's out. And he probably Joey Manu or Schiller or potentially both. And then also looking at a sell of... sorry, just give me a scroll up. It was going to be in the second row. Oh, that's right. Yep. That's where I was confused. So selling either Liam Henry or Jason Tolmalolo, who I've got at front row.
Oh, that's a good sell.
Moving Curran up. Oh, yeah. I've been very patient on this one. So this is a play I sort of made weeks ago, and it's now coming forth, so it's nice. The big decision is just to sell Henry or Tolmalolo. I think there'll be a lot of people out there considering selling Henry because he's made, the 130K. It's now going to start rolling out. I guess I'm in the camp of I'm either selling or holding. Well, I don't know which one I'm selling. That's if I'm holding Liam Henry this week.
So what are you trading?
I'm holding him all week. Oh, well, that one probably Ali Katoa.
Yeah.
I'm just for me, it's more about who I'm bringing in is almost more locked in. It's more about who I'm selling.
So who are you bringing in? Katoa and
Manu.
I like it.
Yeah,
I like it. Strengthening up your side. You've already got Lomax, Holmes.
Yeah, so I'm actually still feeling confident. Like I've been sort of a bit plotty and a bit weaker in sort of spots, but I think that this week's the week that I'm like, my side's good now, and I'm not gonna be taking a hit. I think I'll be getting good green arrows. I feel good about this week.
So I'm selling. Who am I selling? I'm selling someone. I'm selling Taylor May, which I'm not super happy about, but I want to generate the cash.
He'd be the other. I didn't mention that the third sale. That's who'd be selling if I'm getting a Schiller. I guess. Yeah.
I'm going him to Schiller, and I'm going Latrell to Ponga this week. I figured I'm potentially going Drinkwater to Turbo next week because I think Drinkwater's draw kind of toughens up for a couple of weeks and then it gets really easy and then he plays the bye. But he plays the Sharks and the Panthers 2 weeks after. I'm continuing this fullback roulette.
Yeah, I reckon if you are going to go, like you want to bring Ponga in for Latrell this week, but if you're going to go Drinky to Turbo, you've almost got to get off Turbo again for those 2 games leading up.
That's honestly okay if I save trades in between.
Yeah.
It's okay. It doesn't matter how many trades I spend in that position.
If that's the thing that's sort of... It's not... I don't think it's been the full-back rule that's actually gotten you that far ahead. It's the rest of your side.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
It was, you made an extra 100 points doing it this week because you would have probably captained Val.
Yeah, exactly.
So it worked out well, but yeah.
But Drinky, he's already made heaps of money for me, and it's the first time doing this fullback roulette that I've come out on top of negative of money. Yeah. So if Turbo goes less than 70 this week and Drinky goes 100, I make money off that trade. I make a good amount of money off that trade. I make over 100K on that trade. So that's something I'm very comfortable doing. I'm comfortable not owning Drinky. I feel like he's not a scary player.
The scariest thing about me with doing what you're doing is I hate not having a player that I've had in my side and then watching them go around.
Oh, it sucks. I've done it with 2 fullbacks, with Tommy and Teddy.
It's hard watching players I don't have, but because I've never had them in my side this year, it's not as hard. It feels like you're watching 5 fullbacks that you all have an emotional attachment to.
It's fine. It's fine. I'm happy to do it. And Drinkwater, he's got to do a lot to get a lot of points, but he does it very often. He scored 2 tries on the weekend. That not many times he'll score a double line break try. So, but that being said, he has that ceiling and he can hurt you. So, yeah, I've got to be careful. The tipping point.
Yeah, fun game.
We're going to start the tipping point this week. Do you have a player in mind that you want to start with? I've got one in mind here.
Let's go. Yeah, I've got one.
Who is it? Joey Manu. I like it. All right, let's set the line at 80 points. Higher or lower?
I'm happy to go to 85.
I'll go higher.
So you want 90?
Higher. Are you higher or lower?
So I've either got to work out whether I want 95 or...
Yeah, so you got to say higher or lower.
Yeah, I'll take 95, higher.
I'll go lower.
So I'm higher than 95. You're lower than 95.
Yep.
Sweet.
All right. I will go Scotty Drinkwater versus the Parramatta Eels. Let's start at 90 again. Higher or lower?
Lower.
I'll go lower.
You can't. It's a tipping point.
No, it's fine.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you can.
Yeah, we both have the same
All right,
one.
so now it's down to 75.
No, 85. Higher or lower?
Higher.
Higher. 87.5.
Yep.
Higher or
lower
lower?
than that? Lower.
Higher.
I'm taking 87, pretty much.
No, so I'm going to go higher than 87.5 for Drinky.
Yep.
And you got to go lower.
You're going to write these down later?
Yeah, no, I've got them down. I know the numbers. So Scotty Drinkwater, 87.5 is the line set. And Joey Manu, 95 is the line set. Timmy is going over for Joey Manu. I'm going over for Scotty Drinkwater. This is a series we're going to be doing every week. And Mikey and Jake are
Do you want to chuck a Schiller in there? Cheapie of the week?
Let's do it. Higher or lower than 45?
Higher.
Higher. 55.
Higher.
Lower.
Nice, I'll take that. So higher than 55.
Fuck, I should have pushed you, eh?
Yeah, I would have gone close to 100 because he's gone close to 100 the last 2 weeks and it's the Titans.
Far out.
So, I don't know. I'm not saying he's definitely going to get 100.
No.
I feel like he could.
Far
Why
out.
not? Why not?
I could have pushed you further.
Yeah.
I love this game.
Fun game.
It's so much better than ball
I made
predictions.
this too. I made this game. I just want to put that out there. And
Shout out to Grant for pumping our tyres up and saying it's such a good idea. So,
yeah, fucking, Grant's kind of like our lawyer, I reckon. I feel like he's like our unofficial lawyer. If like there was if there was any beef, we'd just get him to deal with it.
Yeah, he listens to over all the kinks in the podcast and he gives us nice feedback. Smart feedback. All right, captains this week.
Oh, yeah. So I did think about this today. I was walking to my car. I thought I need to have this moment. And I think it's a really fun week for captains because it's a weird week. It's not like there's any massive slam dunks. A lot of the matchups are kind of a bit tightish. I think I'll be going Nicho Hynes as my captain. And if I can work it out, maybe either Turbo or Val as VC. But they're Saturday games, so I'll just need to see whether I can make the loop work with non-players or not. But if I had to take a much earlier one, I'm not going to go Joey for the Thursday night game. I'm just not Thursday night guy. I would probably, I'll just stick with Tommy VC.
I like it. I am going, at the moment, I've got SJVC C Drinkwater, which is what I had last week, to be fair, so I haven't changed it. But Nicho Hynes is in my plans. It's either him or Drinky. And I don't know, maybe I see a bounce back from Parramatta this week, so maybe I should take the C off.
There is the bounce back factor from South. Like this is
I've been
last
waiting
week.
for
this
that.
This is the last week they've got to bounce back. They can't bounce after next week. Because next week they'll have a new coach. And that's
they also have a bye next week.
Oh, lucky timing.
Well, that's probably why they are doing it this week. So I reckon they're just hanging out for the bye, and Nico's a great captain shout, to be honest. It is at a core stadium, though, so I would have liked it to be at PointsBet. That being said. But that is the show. Thank you for tuning in. Shout out to Timmy for coming on. Cheers, mate. And shout out to... we didn't mention our...
Are we watching this back going, it's got a shout out.
Shout out.
That's mad.
Shout out to our sponsors, Picklebet, which I didn't mention. Use the code TURBO when signing up. Call 1-800-858-FL8. That's it. Cheers for tuning in.